According to the FDA, tea products are among the top items pulled from store shelves. The reason? Hidden dangers like pesticides, heavy metals, or even bacteria that can make people seriously sick. And that's shocking when you think about it. Tea is supposed to be safe. A warm cup in the morning or a cold bottled tea from the fridge is something millions of Americans enjoy every single day. Families trust it. People believe it's natural, clean, and even healthy. But here's the part nobody tells you. Some of the biggest tea brands in the United States have faced recalls. Contamination, mislabeling, and even spoilage have all been tied to products sitting on shelves right now. These aren't niche, off-brand items. These are household names you probably recognize, brands that might already be in your pantry or fridge. The truth is, people rarely question it. They pour it into cups for their kids, they drink it at work, and they assume that if it's sold in a supermarket, it must be fine. But history shows that isn't always true. In fact, tea is the second most consumed beverage in the world after water. So when something goes wrong, the impact is massive. Entire batches of bottled teas have been pulled from stores, sometimes across multiple states. Yet most people never even hear about it. That's where we come in. This is BizWorld Explorer, uncovering the hidden truths behind everyday food brands so you know what's safe to drink and what might be quietly putting you at risk. And remember, we post new investigations every single day. So, which teas were just removed from stores? Which trusted names have been tied to recalls or contamination? And most importantly, what can you safely drink instead? Stay with me, because the answers may surprise you. Lipton tea. Lipton is one of the most famous tea brands in the world. It has been around for more than 100 years, and in many homes, it's the first name people think of when they want tea. That yellow box feels safe and familiar. Families have trusted it for generations. But trusted doesn't always mean safe. And Lipton's story proves that. One of the biggest scares linked to Lipton came when its powdered tea mix was recalled because of salmonella. Salmonella is not just a small problem. It's a dangerous bacteria that can cause diarrhea, fever, and painful stomach cramps. For kids, older people, and those with weak immune systems, it can even be life-threatening. The scary part, this wasn't some cheap, unknown tea brand. This was Lipton, the same brand people buy every single day without thinking twice. And yet, even after this recall, people kept buying it. Why? Because Lipton is everywhere. It's sold in grocery stores, gas stations, restaurants, and even vending machines. It has become a habit for millions of families. When something is that common, people don't stop to question it. They assume it must be safe just because it's on the shelf. But here's the hidden risk. Powdered teas, like the kind Lipton sells, can be more dangerous than freshly brewed tea. These powders sit in warehouses or on store shelves for months. If contamination happens during production, packaging, or storage, it spreads across large batches quickly. That means one mistake at the factory can affect thousands of homes. And salmonella isn't the only concern. Over the years, tests on several major tea brands, including Lipton, have raised questions about pesticides. These chemicals can stay on tea leaves, and when you brew your tea, you may be drinking more than just tea. It doesn't sound as safe as the bright yellow box makes it look, does it? Think about who drinks Lipton the most. Parents who make iced tea at home for their kids. Seniors who drink it every day because it's what they've always known. People who assume it's just tea, it must be safe. For them, the risk isn't just once. It adds up sip after sip, day after day. So, what can you do instead? A better choice is switching to loose-leaf organic tea. When you brew loose tea yourself, you avoid the long shelf life and factory mixing that make powdered teas riskier. Organic teas also follow stricter rules about pesticides. And here's the good news: it doesn't have to be expensive. Many store-brand organic teas cost almost the same per cup as Lipton powders, but they carry far fewer risks. Now, this doesn't mean you can never drink Lipton again. The point is to be aware. Even the biggest brands, the ones we see everywhere, can face serious problems. Recalls and contamination don't only happen to small companies. Lipton's case shows that no brand is too famous to be unsafe. So, the next time you see Lipton on the shelf, don't just grab it out of habit. Remember that history has shown problems before, and it could happen again. Trust is not the same as safety. And here's the question: if Lipton, the biggest tea brand in the world, has had these issues, what about the other teas sitting right next to it in your kitchen? Stay with me, because the next brand might surprise you even more. Arizona Iced Tea. Arizona Iced Tea is one of the most recognizable bottled tea brands in America. Those giant, colorful cans are everywhere: gas stations, grocery stores, even dollar stores. And for just $1, you get a massive can of sweet tea. It's cheap, it's tasty, and it feels like a bargain. That kind of value has made it one of the most popular choices for families, teens, and anyone who just wants something cold and refreshing on the go. But here's the part most people don't know. Arizona Iced Tea has faced issues that go far beyond just being a sugary drink. In fact, some of their products have been tied to recalls in the past because of mold contamination. Mold can form inside bottled drinks if the seal isn't perfect, or if the product spoils during storage or transport. And here's the scary part: it doesn't always show on the outside. You could open what looks like a normal can, take a sip, and only then realize something is very wrong. Mold in drinks isn't just gross. It can make people sick. It can cause stomach upset, allergic reactions, or even serious infections in people with weak immune systems. And when you think about how many kids and teens drink Arizona every day, that risk becomes even more worrying. But the hidden danger doesn't end with mold. Even when there's no recall, there's another problem sitting right inside every can: sugar. A single can of Arizona Iced Tea can have over 20 teaspoons of sugar. That's more than most sodas, and in some cases, it's like drinking 2 cans of Coke in one sitting. It's marketed as tea, but what you're really getting is a sugar bomb disguised in a giant, colorful can. Think about who drinks these most: families who stock them in the fridge, teens who grab them on the way to school, people who choose Arizona thinking tea must be healthier than soda. But the truth is, drinking 1 can is the same as flooding your body with sugar. And when people drink them daily, the risks only grow: obesity, diabetes, and heart problems down the road. So what's the safer swap? The best choice is to make iced tea at home. All you need are tea bags, water, and a little lemon. If you want flavor, you can add honey or stevia, but the sugar will still be far less than Arizona. And unlike a can that may have been sitting in a warehouse for months, homemade tea is fresh. You know exactly what's in it. This isn't about saying you should never drink Arizona again. It's about being aware of what's really in that can. Because sometimes, what looks cheap and refreshing comes with hidden costs that you don't see until it's too late. Now here's the question: would you still keep Arizona Iced Tea in your fridge after hearing this? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe, because we post new investigations every single day. And here's the twist: even if you skip Arizona and grab a bottled tea that says natural or pure, you might not be any safer. The next brand is marketed as clean and healthy, but lawsuits say otherwise. If you thought Arizona was bad, wait until you hear what's been uncovered about Pure Leaf. Pure Leaf. Pure Leaf is sold as the clean, natural, and healthier choice in the tea aisle. You've probably seen the ads. Brewed from real tea leaves, no artificial flavors, nothing to hide. On the surface, it looks like the safest option compared to sugar-heavy brands like Arizona. That's why so many health-conscious shoppers reach for it, thinking it's the better choice. But here's the truth. Pure Leaf has faced lawsuits and criticism over what's really inside those bottles. Independent tests have found that some bottled teas, including Pure Leaf, contained traces of pesticide residues. And yet, the brand continues to market itself as all natural. For anyone trying to avoid chemicals in their food and drinks, that's a big red flag. So why do people still buy it? One word: trust. Pure Leaf is backed by two giants, PepsiCo and Unilever, and that kind of power makes shoppers feel safe. Add the sleek glass bottles, the bold, real brewed label, and the premium price, and suddenly it feels like you're buying something pure and honest. But purity isn't guaranteed. Just because something is marketed as natural doesn't mean it's free from hidden risks. Here's where the problem gets even bigger. The hidden issues aren't just pesticide residues, they also include sugar. A single bottle of Pure Leaf sweet tea can pack as much sugar as a can of soda. And while they sell unsweetened versions, some tests and lawsuits have pointed out inconsistencies between the label and what's actually in the drink. That's why Pure Leaf has been dragged into court more than once, with lawyers arguing that its all-natural claims are misleading. And think about who buys Pure Leaf most. Parents who pack it in school lunches. Teens who grab it from the fridge thinking it's healthier than soda. Shoppers who pay extra for the word natural on the label. These are the very people trying to make better choices. And yet, they may still be exposing themselves and their families to pesticides and too much sugar. Here's a rehook. If the healthier option still carries risks, what can you trust? The best alternative is simple. Look for USDA organic certified teas, either loose leaf or bagged. That organic seal means synthetic pesticides are tightly restricted. Brewing it yourself at home gives you the same fresh taste without the hidden chemicals. And if you prefer bottled teas, choose brands that carry a clear organic certification, not just the word natural slapped on the label. This isn't about saying Pure Leaf is always unsafe. The point is that even the teas advertised as the clean option aren't perfect. Marketing can make you feel confident, but what's in the bottle may tell a different story. If you're paying extra for purity, shouldn't you at least get what you're promised? So here's the real question. Do you still trust natural labels, or do you want proof on your bottle? And if the idea of pesticides makes you nervous, just wait. The next brand is tied to one of the biggest coffee chains in the world, and it has faced recalls for something even more alarming: undeclared allergens. For people with allergies, that's not just misleading, it's life-threatening. Do you still feel safe with bottled teas? Let me know in the comments. Next up, let's talk about Tazo tea, a brand with the Starbucks name attached, but a history that might shock you. Tazo tea, Starbucks. Tazo tea carries the weight of a powerful name, Starbucks. When people see it on shelves, the connection feels safe, premium, and trustworthy. After all, if Starbucks serves it in their stores, it must be good quality, right? That's exactly why so many shoppers pay extra for Tazo. It feels like a step up from cheaper grocery teas, like you're buying into something better. But here's the hidden story. Tazo has faced recalls in the past tied to undeclared allergens and labeling errors. At first, that may not sound as scary as bacteria or mold. But for someone with food allergies, it's just as dangerous, sometimes even deadly. Imagine drinking tea that's labeled as caffeine-free, only to find out the label was wrong. Or worse, tea that contains milk, soy, or nuts that weren't listed on the packaging. For someone with a severe allergy, one sip can mean hives, swelling, or even an emergency trip to the hospital. And here's why it's so serious. Unlike sugar or pesticides, which may harm slowly over time, undeclared allergens can cause immediate, life-threatening reactions. Minutes matter. Parents buying Tazo for children with allergies rely on accurate labels. Adults with food sensitivities depend on that small line on the back of the bottle. When the label is wrong, trust is broken, and safety goes out the window. So why do people still buy Tazo? Branding. Starbucks has built Tazo around adventurous, exotic blends, things you won't usually see in the basic tea aisle. Hibiscus, passion fruit, wild orange, you name it. The packaging looks sleek and premium, and the Starbucks name makes people assume it's made under strict quality control. But as history shows, even the most premium-looking brands can have gaps in safety. The hidden issue here is mislabeling. And when it comes to allergens, mislabeling isn't a small slip. It's a direct health hazard. Families who rely on tea labels to avoid milk, soy, gluten, or nuts are the ones most at risk. For them, a single mistake can mean life or death. Think about this. A parent buys Tazo thinking it's safe for their child with allergies. They pour a cup, trusting the label. Within minutes, that child could be fighting a severe reaction. That's not a what if, it's a real possibility that recalls have proven. So what's the safer swap? The best option is to look for allergen-certified teas or brands that openly share their sourcing and testing practices. Smaller organic tea companies often carry certifications like gluten-free, dairy-free, and nut-free. And of course, brewing loose-leaf teas at home gives you the most control over what's in your cup. You pick the leaves, you know what's inside, and you avoid the uncertainty of mass production labels. What makes the Tazo story alarming isn't just the recalls, it's the Starbucks connection. People rarely check recall lists for premium brands because they assume a company like Starbucks would never let something unsafe hit the shelves. But history proves that assumption isn't always correct. So here's something to think about. If even premium teas tied to Starbucks can have allergen and labeling problems, what does that mean for the other bottled tea brands that don't have the same reputation to protect? Do you still trust big coffee chains after this? Drop your answer in the comments. And don't go anywhere, because the next brand might shock you even more. Once owned by Coca-Cola, praised as organic, and sold as the better choice, it too has faced spoilage recalls that left loyal customers stunned. Honest Tea. Honest Tea built its entire reputation on one word: honest. From the beginning, it was sold as organic, natural, and a better choice for families who wanted to avoid sugary sodas and artificial drinks. With its clean green and white label and the word organic stamped across the front, it looked safe. It looked smart. And when Coca-Cola bought the brand, it exploded onto shelves everywhere. Parents grabbed it thinking they were doing the right thing, choosing something healthier for their kids. But here's the twist. Even a brand built on trust has had serious problems. Honest Tea has faced recalls in the past due to spoilage concerns. Bottles were found fermenting, leaking, or spoiling before the expiration date. To most shoppers, that sounds like a minor inconvenience. But spoilage isn't just gross. It can be dangerous. A bottle that ferments on its own can build pressure, causing the cap to leak or even burst. Inside, bacteria and mold can grow, turning what looks like a refreshing tea into a hidden health risk. And here's the part most people don't realize. When a product is marketed as clean and organic, customers let their guard down. They trust it so much that they rarely question if something could be wrong. That's why spoilage recalls from Honest Tea hit so hard. They clash with the very image the brand was built on. But spoilage wasn't the only concern. Another issue is sugar. Honest Tea was promoted as the healthier swap for soda. And in some cases, it is lighter. But take a closer look. Many flavors still carry more sugar than people expect. In fact, a single bottle of some varieties contains nearly as much sugar as a can of soda. For a brand that markets itself as the better choice, that's misleading. Shoppers think they're avoiding sugar bombs, but they may still be getting more than they bargained for. So who's most at risk? Families who buy Honest Tea in bulk, stocking it in the fridge because they think it's a safe everyday drink. Parents who see organic and assume that means perfect safety. And anyone who leaves bottles sitting for weeks, not realizing spoilage can set in sooner than expected. For those groups, Honest Tea's risks add up quietly until a recall or a bad bottle proves otherwise. So what's the safer swap? The answer is simple. Make iced tea at home. Buy USDA organic tea bags or loose leaf blends. Brew them in hot water. Then chill them in your own fridge. You control how much sugar goes in, and you know exactly how fresh it is. If you still prefer bottled teas, look for smaller organic brands with independent certifications and shorter shelf lives. They may cost a little more, but they offer more transparency and freshness. Honest Tea's story is a reminder that no brand, no matter how healthy it looks, can guarantee perfection. Labels and marketing can make us feel safe, but history shows that recalls and spoilage don't discriminate. If a brand named Honest can face these problems, then it's proof that trust in a label is never enough. So here's the real question. If even Honest Tea and Pure Leaf, the brands sold as the clean options, have faced issues, what's left to trust in the tea aisle? Tell me below, which of these tea brands shocked you the most? And don't forget to subscribe. We post new investigations every single day, exposing the hidden truths behind the foods and drinks sitting in your fridge right now. And now, let's finish with something positive. The safer swaps you can make today. Simple alternatives that keep your family safe without breaking the bank. Alternatives Roundup. Now that we've gone through 5 major tea brands with serious concerns, let's shift the focus to what you can drink safely. The good news is, the alternatives are simple, taste just as good, and often cost about the same. With a few small swaps, you can enjoy tea without the hidden risks. First, skip powdered tea mixes and long-shelf bottled teas. Instead, go for fresh loose leaf or bagged teas you brew yourself. Brewing at home cuts out the risks of spoilage, mold, or hidden contamination. And honestly, nothing beats the taste of fresh brewed tea. It's cleaner, lighter, and more refreshing. Second, look for the USDA organic seal. This label matters. It's the easiest way to avoid teas with pesticide residues. While no product is ever 100% perfect, organic teas follow stricter standards and are a safer choice, especially if your family drinks tea daily. Third, if iced tea is your go-to, make it at home. Brew a pitcher, let it chill, and keep it in your fridge. Add lemon, honey, or mint for flavor. You'll get all the taste without the sugar overload you find in canned or bottled teas. It's healthier, fresher, and surprisingly cheap. Fourth, pay attention to allergen labeling. If food allergies are a concern in your home, choose brands that are certified allergen-free and always double-check labels. Smaller organic brands often make this information clear and reliable. And finally, remember, sometimes the simplest choice is best. A glass of filtered water with lemon can give you that same refreshing feel, without any of the risks tied to bottled tea. These swaps let you keep tea in your life, but in a way that's smarter, safer, and healthier. Up next, let's close with one final reflection that puts everything into perspective. Closing reflection. This isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to help you shop smarter. Tea is one of the most common drinks in the world, and for many families, it's a daily habit. Most of us never stop to think about what's really in the cup. But as we've seen, even the most trusted brands can face recalls, contamination, spoilage, or labeling mistakes. That doesn't mean you need to give up tea. It just means small choices can make a big difference. Brewing fresh tea at home, choosing USDA organic options, or checking allergen labels are easy steps that lower your risk. These swaps don't cost much, but they help protect you and your family in ways you may not see on the surface. The truth is, food and drinks should bring comfort, not worry. A cup of tea should relax you, not make you wonder if it's safe. That's why awareness matters. When you know the facts, you stay in control. In the end, it's about trust. Not blind trust in big brands, but trust in your own decisions. And those decisions can keep you safe every single day. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these tea brands shocked you the most? Share your answer in the comments below. I read every single one. And if you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. We post new investigations every single day, exposing the hidden truths behind the foods and drinks you trust. Before you go, don't miss our last video. 5 bread brands suddenly recalled. Costco and Walmart shoppers stunned. It's right here on the screen. Click it now to uncover what happened to some of the most popular bread brands in America. Remember, simple swaps can keep your family safe. Stay informed, shop smarter, and I'll see you in the next investigation.